Oh, howdy doody, Delco, and happy Tuesday in the county. This is Delco Live. We got a great guest in Mike Barclay today. And of course, we're going to be discussing the guy who covered
Let's see. Here
himself
we
in
go.
shit and crawled around in Ridley
Hi.
because that's a kind of cocaine that we just saved for Easter.
Glad you made it back.
Al, you want to talk about the sponsors now, or Ethan?
Talk more about the cocaine and the shit first.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. We got to break the ice, you know.
All right. Well, you know, if you
we're not talking meth
if you got to clean the taste of cocaine and shit out of your mouth, I go to fatcowjerky.com. Utterly perfect jerky, jalapeno, garlic, honey, bourbon. So many great flavors. Go to Facebook, Instagram, or simply, like I said earlier, fatcowjerky.com. The only way to get shit and cocaine out of your mouth. If you get busted with cocaine, the simple way to go is David R. Cherry. Call him at 610-565-0300 or simply go to cherryinjurylaw.com. That's workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, or shit and cocaine. Speaking of shit and cocaine, so you that's right. They pay for this, ladies and gentlemen. If you need the best shit in cocaine, I'm just kidding. For the best time in Delco, simply go to Dolan's in Ridley Park, 24 East Sellers Avenue. Quizzo, music, great times, memorabilia, you name it. They got
shit, cocaine.
You
got it.
Nope, they don't have it.
They don't.
They don't.
The Burgundy still does.
Yeah, you have to go there. Go to dolansbar.com or go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or the TikTok.
Zanga blog, MySpace.
Oh, yeah.
And don't forget, we are less than 2 months away.
Great place to save up some money for when you do shit and cocaine.
Yes. BHCU, Delaware County's credit union, is sponsoring this year's Delco Day at JT Brewski's in Clifton Heights. And we're going to be talking a little bit about that tonight. A lot of information to go over. And also, I want to thank one of our newer sponsors who is part of Delco Day.
You know what you can flush down the toilet?
Yeah.
Shit and cocaine.
Sloan's Plumbing and Mechanical LLC. Call them at 484-949-0355.
Oh, that's the nice little canvas stamp you put on there.
There you go. I didn't say it was good. And the Phillies actually had an amazing game last night. So if you want to rep your Delco baseball hoodie, go to Delco Live.
The nondescript baseball 1980s throwback shirt?
Nondescript.
You can't sue us. Shit and cocaine. So anyway, speaking of Delco Day, not shit and cocaine for once, we have a special guest, a true Delco gem icon and treasure for the last many decades.
When's he getting here?
Yeah, I guess I don't know where that guy's at.
We got Mike Barclay here. You are a
hello.
You are a musician.
Yes.
You are a podcast host.
Very recently.
And according to the podcast, you also know lots about food and beer.
And cocaine.
And shit.
And food and beer and cocaine, yeah.
And shit food and shit cocaine.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I guess I know a little bit about a little bit.
Do you still play at the Trophy?
I do.
Okay.
Every Thursday.
I have.
How do you feel about that?
I have taken a shit and done cocaine in their bath.
Well,
simultaneously.
The regulars do take shit and do cocaine in the basement.
You know what they
toilet? Yeah,
that's the inside.
When you play there a few years, you know that.
It's all fun and games until a fire breaks out and there's no fire extinguisher there anymore.
I heard about that. I heard you were directly in the pad.
I was the first and fourth person.
You know, he's the greatest guy. I've known him. He was my coach at Bonner.
Oh, I've drank with him 4 times since then.
And he really is. He was my. I've known him for years, and very, very kind-hearted and everything. I just think he had a momentary lapse there. I mean, obviously he did, but like hearing about that later, I was like, it's really not Mike. But,
I had a show the night before, and it was really good, and I was on fire.
Yeah.
And I figured he just came to put me out.
He was helping.
Yeah.
Andy, is that a request? We got
that's the trophy.
As a musician, you already get your first request from Randy Dillon.
Yeah, I was just saying. So you're notorious for Thug Folk.
Yes, that was
on that.
Thug Folk was pretty much my my introduction into Delaware County music. At Bonner, I started kind of like a band as a senior. Played Casey's in the Bryan Street, which isn't there anymore, but. That first band was an original band, and it was mostly Collingdale dudes. One Drexel Hill guy.
Where are you from?
I'm from Collingdale.
You're from Collingdale.
Yeah, I'm from Collingdale, and the Bulldogs. Absolutely,
It's the blue and orange.
Yes, exactly. I was a young Bulldog, and but that band started like right out of high school and through college, and we just had the perfect mix of, you know, there was a guy 3 years older in the band, a guy 2 years older, myself, and a guy younger. So we had all of our friends
I
coming.
was gonna say multiple groups of
Yeah,
friends. Everyone
and-
old enough to buy the boot.
And at a time where people wanted we weren't 21. We were
Yeah,
like 20
yeah.
years old. So like wherever we played was just like a swarm of people, not because like they were hearing the greatest thing ever, it's because they knew they could get into that place that
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
They already made the commitment to hire Thug Folk. So we were just a young band on the scene and where nobody else was young like that at that time.
And did I just see that one of the songs was called McDade something?
McDade Boulevard.
McDade
Yeah, that was
Boulevard.
that we put out an original CD. We probably had about 15, 20 originals.
Okay.
Um,
What
we
kind of
did-
music was it?
it was very like Tom Petty, Bruce-ish,
Okay.
but we had a piano player that was pretty much the best guy in the band, and his name's
Oh.
Pat Smith. He's phenomenal. He plays in Burnt Sienna now. They're like more of a
They still around?
regional cover band. They're not anymore,
Okay.
but he splintered off and does like a dueling pianos with the guy that is in that band.
That's
so
so rad.
That's fun.
Because I
yeah.
did
I'd
see
see that.
they did like the OD happy hour,
Yeah.
like there's no shower happy hours for years. So when he left me, I remember I was all upset because we were playing in a duo, and we made good money. But then he came back and he's like, "I'm making $1,000 a gig." I'm like, "Okay, see you." Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
I can't pay you that. Then I'm like, you know, we're good money's like 300 a person. You know,
That is
he was making 1,000
Or a bag of oats. That,
or bag of oats. Yeah,
that has happened.
it's like
yeah,
they gave me a bag. They said use your hands. And they called me a mule.
Well,
yeah,
Is that when they stuff the drugs in your ass? Or
yeah.
It's great. It's great you bring up Berciana. When we were reaching out to artists for Delco Day, Berciana
That's
was
who was
on my
supposed to be here
list.
tonight, Bernsiana.
Oh,
That would have been
no.
hilarious if you said that.
No.
It's funny you said
But
that.
I saw
We'll be here next
that
week.
Hoagie Time, who we'll get into what Hoagie Time is. I saw you guys had Modern Bliss on.
Yes.
And I did speak
Also
to that.
great, Delaware County. They came a little bit after. Thug Folk was from 2002 to 2004, and we were able to put together 2 original CDs in that period. But then towards the end, some of us in the band had wanted to join bigger cover bands that were less Delco and more regional.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like the shore bands and stuff like
Sure.
that. So by then we kind of splintered off. But since then, I mean, I was 21, 22 years old. I'm 40 now. Everything I've done musically from that has been off of the reputation of Thug Folk because the mark we made, especially the song McDade Boulevard wasn't our best song. Like we had some like, better songs, but as far as something that caught on to people, especially around Delaware County and kind of just gave us the fan base.
Are you gonna play it at Delco Day?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like I have to, but over the years,
And with that,
I always am with it. And for years I ran away from it. In the last like 5 years, I embrace it again just because it's cool. But yeah, that Thug Folk, that was like a special original band. You can find our stuff still on Spotify, Apple Music, Thug Folk, one word. But that was the first band that was kind of half
You
original.
gonna
and
rally
half-
some of them up for your set at Delco Day?
I am. McGuire, who I also do a hoodie time with.
So
I'm
that's
sure.
that's like a time 2000. You said 2000, 2004.
Yeah, that was.
That's the time when you had to grind for it. You didn't have this like.
There was
the-
no.
The
There was
Facebooks.
MySpace because I remember the top 8 and all
There
that
was
shit.
MySpace.
That came
Not like
kind of
it is today.
that kind of came halfway through that. So it was more
Mhm.
like call your friends, word of mouth, and when people found it, and when guys knew that girls were going to be there,
Oh, of
then the
course.
guys came, and then we had about a 2-year run where it was just it was pretty special, and we were able to make our mark. And that ended, and then I went to like a cover band that had like management and shit like that played. But I even having success with that over the years and kind of going in bands and duos and stuff. I always look back at that was the one
That was the fun.
that had
Because they were
that
your
could-
songs.
They were
you
your
know,
our
yeah.
songs, and we were playing locally. It was truly something
You were-
grown in Delaware County,
And every show you're just like, gotta rock out because maybe it's the night that recruiting artist is in the.
yeah, and we were brothers. We would fight like
Uh-huh.
like before gigs, and after there'd be fist fights, there'd be tears, there'd be hugs, and then after that I realized like bands at the higher level, they're put together. It's almost like this is the name of the band, the Rockets.
Yeah.
And here's 6 guys that are all from different areas.
You're basically employees.
Yeah, you're basically
Yeah.
just employees. And that was more like something that was grown organically from the garage up. We all knew each other's families and shit like that. So yeah, that was the mark where my music kind of took off and definitely started in Delaware County.
Hell yeah. What's you have a pretty standard rapport of like each day a week you play somewhere, shape or form.
Pretty much.
What's your schedule right now?
Now I'm Thursdays at the Trophy. You know the Trophy, right? You've
Never
been
heard
there.
of it.
I've heard that you've been there.
I've been there.
I heard it's on fire.
I've only been there
It came
21
to
times
you.
since I got attacked with fire extinguisher.
Lovingly though.
Yes,
Lovingly.
lovingly.
He attacked
He
you
was just
lovingly.
mad it wasn't powdered
I only
sugar.
went there 21 times, maybe 20.
I'll tell you, Trophy,
Cocaine bear. It's definitely like cocaine.
I'm not gonna lie, I tried to snort the residue from it.
maybe others, but not him. I can vouch for that 100%. But Trophy on Thursdays, I do that 9 to 12, and that's just pretty much a staple. I've been there now for like 10 years, and in the beginning, they used to have crabs on Thursdays.
was the
They were
Dungeon
fucking
business, right?
delicious, dude.
Now they still do. Just
They,
not-
yeah. But they were like $27 all you can eat, and it was mobbed in there, and nobody even cared that it was smoking. Like people even said, "Oh, smoking and crabs." I'm like, they tasted better.
It has flavor.
Like,
No, it
yeah.
honestly does.
There's actually an option on the menu. You can do Cajun or smoky. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Or ash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what they would do. They would turn over the if you get the meat out, it becomes your ashtray.
Gotta make sure
Yeah.
that the cigarettes don't like play around and start a fire.
But I enjoy a Cigadere every once in a while. But I'm still there. But after COVID came, and then the price of crabs, like he would have had to charge like $80
Oh,
to make his
jeez.
money off of what he did with
Yeah,
20.
yeah.
So that went the way of the dinosaur. And I'm still there though. But yeah, we a good crowd there.
So did you outlast crabs?
Last supper, yeah, we had crabs. We all sat around. But that's Thursday night. Saturdays, I do 39 North every other.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a pretty cool spot.
It
Real,
is.
real
I like
good
that.
food
Talk
spot.
about a place. Talk about a fire. That place roasting the ashes, man. When that was Dino's, number
But
one.
that was Jewish Lightning.
Yeah.
You know that, right? That guy,
Hey,
Dino, that was on purpose.
Was it?
I hope Dino's. I said, I hope he's not watching. My dad saved his life one time because he did the same thing to his house. He lived in Collingdale on Pershing Avenue, and my dad drives by and sees his house on fire. He drives in, or my dad goes in,
Yeah.
saves the guy. He was sleeping, woke him up, got him out of the house. My dad's got a plaque and everything from the Collingdale fire, but for saving the guy's life. Turned out like a year later, he was pissed. He wanted that to happen. He had a whole plan. He was going to get out anyway, but he set the fire. So
Wasn't?
Oh my
Wow. Yeah. That's
Well-
39 North when it was Dino's.
Yeah.
Wasn't the whole thing that like someone had a heart attack in the upstairs apartment? The paramedics took that person to the hospital, but left their stove on.
he's been doing. Like, he's a pro. He's a pro.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but he's a pro. He's a fire pro.
Somebody play some lamp cord. You know how to get around here.
Yeah.
Because it rose from the ashes quite literally, and
Lucy
it's
Crabs,
beautiful
there you
now.
39 North, but it's really cool because you know that place across the street, Fainting Goat. For years, it was snake bitten, like 20 years. Everything from after Sam's Saloon on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam's was awesome. Like our parents, they going there as a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah.
And then everything after was just snake bitten. Like it was people that tried, and I didn't know why. It seemed cool. Then finally, Fainting Goat comes in. It's the first one in the 20-year break from Sam's that just took off and go. So when I play 39 North, it's almost like a spirit of like, it's not competition. It's like spillover.
Mhm.
Like that place is packed. 39's packed. I don't think they even compete with each other.
Nah.
When two places are doing so good, like it becomes less competition. It's like everybody eats. But that's 39 North. And then Sundays I do every other Tavola. And that's,
Fancy.
country club. I put on
Yeah.
a button down.
Oh.
I do there like 4 to 7. Then I do
He
every
may change his underwear. Well,
Yeah. depending on
Body freaking die.
depending on the cocaine from the night before.
Yeah.
But
The shit in the
Shit,
cocaine. Yeah.
cocaine.
and then I do every other at JT Brewski's, home of
Home of Delco.
Delco
Yeah.
Day.
right. And before that I was at JT Brewski's for the last probably 10 years straight every Sunday.
Okay.
But I pissed Tommy off, so we were in a fight for a couple months, but now he has me back. We're brothers. Like
So
that's
it
another
goes.
place. Like
Yeah.
after Thug Folk, like the second reinvention of like my music, it was because of like being close friends with Tommy and Johnny, and they let me come in and kind of like start the music there because they didn't have music before. They
Okay.
started out on Sundays, and that was like back in 2012,
When it
2013.
became Brewski's.
Yeah,
after
when it became
Thomas's.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it was more of an old man bar, and then we started doing Sundays, and it just kind of took off, and that lasted for about 8-9 years, and now I'm there like pretty much every first Sunday.
So music
Often,
music is not your only forte or venture into the entertainment industry. You have now started a podcast.
Yeah, it's this.
How long?
That's what they call it.
And it's well, Al doesn't let us call it a podcast. He calls this an internet radio show.
Really? What's
Yes.
the reasoning?
When you sell to people
Uh-huh.
or deal with like media credentials, you say podcast, they just
Right away, yeah.
Hey, we podcast our stuff like everybody else does, but we are a live internet radio show.
So here's how it works in the real world. You go, "Hi, I'm on an internet radio show," and you go, "What?" And you go, "A podcast." They're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
It just adds one more line of
One more
dialogue to the
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, the podcast was like
I mean, the internet radio show.
yeah, the internet radio show was more like a thing, kind of like I was getting a little older, and not until I turned, I'm 40 now, not until about 39. I mean, I played music from 20 to 40, almost 20 years
Mhm.
full time. So I'd play,
That's your job. is
that was
playing
my
the
job
music.
for many years
Wow.
until about 6-7 months ago. I finally
See,
got it.
Holbrook
a real-
is possible.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you're
That's
good
gonna
at
happen.
that's what I have to
I'm
keep throwing in
sorry.
there.
I'm sorry.
If you're good and talented, and this dude has a great repertoire of music, I read chord
You
charts.
should have done better in
Dude.
2002.
Yes, that's what I was just about to say. The
Sucks.
legwork I really did was in the beginning because I know the last 5-10 years I skated, but I made the relationships early on in my
Yeah.
20s to where like I was like, oh, you want me to play? I knew enough bar owners and to where I could fill my schedule on a Tuesday where nobody books any live acts on a Tuesday or Monday or Wednesday. I could call a guy and be like, hey, why don't we try something like that and milk a few paydays out of it, bounce around, do okay,
That's funny because he got paid in candy bars one time, so paydays it does.
The
actual-
it
translates.
does count.
Yeah.
I did. The ongoing joke of that was when I was 22, I played the media co-op, and they literally paid us in oats.
Oats, like OATS.
OATS.
Well, it was okay until
What's it, like 1910?
well, it was okay until they strapped it to his face.
Barley?
I traded an oxen for an axle.
Yeah.
On the-
On the Oregon Trail.
Did you force the wagon?
yes.
Give you
Yeah,
a
it's
satchel, a
dysentery
satchel.
later.
They put it around his throat,
Yeah.
made him walk around with it. They pulled some carts down the street, made a little extra money on it.
What a fucking game that was, man. I remember being in
So
like
good.
grade school and being like playing that. I'd play that over any game on Xbox
Oh,
today.
100%.
The hunt in Oregon Trail. There'd be like no
They
animals
actually
left. They'd be
have-
shooting squirrels.
They actually have an app on the phone. I think
You can play the old
Good
school
I
one.
though.
think next
I don't know. I
one,
haven't played it,
one of the next
Yeah.
episodes should be that we enter all of us as a family on Oregon Trail. It makes it a fucking.
dude. We could barely survive
I'm
life.
gonna
We
die
didn't even-
of dysentery immediately.
I mean, I'm surprised Holbrook
That's
hasn't
a terror, yeah.
died of dysentery
Immediately.
yet.
That's the only reason I know what dysentery is.
Yep,
because
I
the
learned
game
more from the
is-
Oregon Trail than I did my entire 4 years of high school.
Sacco had
Guaranteed.
a shirt that said Delco died of dysentery.
Oh,
I did it.
Yeah.
bring that one back.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. But yeah, I could play before COVID, 6 gigs a week, 5-6
Really?
gigs a week, and make good money. But then after COVID, it was kind of I saw the writing on the wall. Like I had to go to the fucking dentist. I had to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
I was sick of paying for
See,
that
Holbrook,
shit.
you
So,
have to go to the dentist.
yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No.
So now I have like 3 steady gigs, and then on Saturday, like I do a lot of private parties, weddings, and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But yeah, just still,
Holbrook works weddings
still
too.
grinding. You do those cocktail hours?
First
I've
communions.
definitely worked some weddings.
He's-
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
he's
an
an
idiot.
ordained minister if you ever need him. for
Yeah.
anything.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mixed
You-
results.
You look good in
great
the
at
suit,
it.
though.
He's
You
great
definitely
at
look
it.
good in the suit.
Mixed
I've
results.
seen you.
great at it.
Struck up well.
How long does that
True.
last for, that license?
I think it's lifetime. I
I
know it's
No,
not.
don't just renew it like once a year. I figured
Yeah,
that's
right.
I have.
what are you-
renewed it
you're-
9 years.
You're a Eucharistic minister?
No,
I'm
it's just like-
Oh no, they're
the
the
ordained
fucking
ministers.
ordained ministers.
Yeah.
Eucharistics are like the parents that could go serve Brian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Crackers.
I didn't know if you ever.
cataclysm. Yeah.
I think I mean legally I should be able to do that. It says you can give all the sacraments.
No, you
I
can't.
can give the last rites.
I'm totally cool with it.
You can't.
I can talk to someone dying.
You can.
That's-
You can only.
Could you baptize somebody in the Darby Creek?
The
Absolutely.
crick.
Yeah.
It's the
Absolutely.
Darby Crick.
Profit.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have something for your OnlyFans page.
don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Who's got OnlyFans?
Profit. The guy that was in here earlier.
I saw it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. You don't want to see it.
I actually do.
What is his
It's like
content on it?
I don't know yet. We're gonna let him talk about the next
Yeah.
time he's here. We said we're back.
I don't have time to wait till 2025.
I did see he's charging $750 a month.
I have that.
Good for him.
You didn't charge $610.
Yes.
fine.
Bummer.
So, yeah.
But the what do you call it? Internet what do
Internet
they call it
radio
again?
show?
Internet radio.
Oh, the internet radio show.
The internet
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
show. So Hoagie Time. My buddy Mike McGuire Hef, who was also in Thug Folk, and
Okay.
he lived down the street from me in Collingdale. We noticed like gigs kind of slowing down a little bit. We're like, kind of let's both of us needed a creative outlet that was new and exciting.
Mhm.
So we flagged down Tommy O'Hagan, who we both knew from St. Joe's Collingdale. He's
Going way back. I love
way
this.
back. Yeah. He's
Stayed in true
Dude, when I
Delco
played
community.
when I played best for Holy Cross, we hated you guys.
we just thought St. Joe's. We just thought everybody was rich but us.
Yeah, they would go, oh, here come the Rich Clifton kids. I'm like, dude, I live 2 blocks away.
Exactly. Then we
There's a
realized
set of tracks. that
we
from my
realized
house.
Clifton, like
My dad hit me because we got a stop sign.
my uncle's like a legendary Clifton guy. Like he was coach all the basketball teams and shit. So like I knew really quickly that Clifton was just the same as us. Because I got katanas every Friday too.
Mm.
But once we went to Bonner, I realized like, oh, Drexel, like these were the rich kids. And then I see them like ODing and shit the same way we did. I was like, oh man, I'm like, they're just this white trash.
Well, no, I think
We just did it with
I
your
think-
shoes.
Yeah, he's
It's all about that.
I think
Shitting
Drexel
and
Hill is the
cocaine.
biggest trap in the world. If you think about it, you can go buy a house in Drexel. Listen, and there's some nice houses in Drexel Hill. Don't get me wrong, but you're gonna go spend this 500. I've seen houses for like $500,000+ in Drexel Hill
Yeah.
with taxes that are
Yeah.
out the a-hole.
Yeah.
Why?
My
why?
parents
That
have been in
is the way
Drexel
to-
Hill.
You're living in Clifton.
Clifton Plus.
You
Like,
know, like
my parents have been in a twin in Drexel Hill for almost 40 years, and their taxes are like $10,000 to $12,000 a year
yeah.
for a 3-bedroom twin.
But listen,
heartbreaking.
like if you drive through, like kind of like
Heartbreaking.
right back where the high school is, and the used to be a hospital. There's some like nice old
Beautiful.
houses.
Well, that's Drexel Park.
yeah, but still, you're in Drexel Hill. Like,
Drexel
Yeah, oh,
Park
yeah.
or Drexel Manor.
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. It's still Drexel,
Drexel
Hill.
Manor.
Yeah, just like in Philly, I heard they're calling it like
Oh, the
they're
art.
trying to call it like
Come, he's down his cone.
Kensington Heights in the
Okay,
fashion
Heights.
yeah, Kensington Heights. Yeah, because there's a hill
Yes.
somewhere.
Well, what, we
There's
did
somebody
the
planning
opposite.
out on it.
We had Chester, and then Chester Heights.
My sister
Mhm.
lived in Chester Heights. I'm like, where? I'm like,
Yeah.
you mean Aston?
Yeah.
Same thing as like you said earlier for the Delco Day, JT Brewski's in Clifton. I'm like, I believe that's Primus.
Yeah.
Because there's like a block there that's like Primus. I think
Yeah.
it's just a fancy name for Clifton.
I mean, if you really want to break it down, it's Clifton, Alden, it's Primos, it's Seacane, it's Primos, Seacane, it's Seacane, Primos.
Barclay.
Yeah,
I mean, come on, man.
yeah. I was a kid.
My street starts Park.
It's
Yeah.
a Briarcliff.
Half a mile.
Yeah.
from
So
Barclay.
someone did
You're
ask
not
where
Barclay?
Bruce
I
was.
am-
Well,
I
and I
am.
said Primus.
That's where you are in Briarcliff. That
Yes.
was always like half of Briarcliff
Downgrade.
would go to St. Joe's and Collingdale, and then the other half of Briarcliff would go to like Fatima,
Yeah.
which was the true demarcation of
Sure.
O'Hara and Bonner.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Fatima kids would go O'Hara, but the St. Joe's Briarcliff would go Bonner and
Yes.
Prendy.
Well, they had the trauma
Yeah.
on their side.
Oh, you're Fatima?
Yeah.
Okay. How old? Okay, so the kids I played against were like Tichenel,
Yeah.
Kerr, and
Kenny Kerr?
McCaffrey,
Yeah.
Kevin Curry. I remember he's passed, right?
Oh,
I
I think he's still alive.
Henry.
Henry
Yeah.
Gaudino? Oh, yeah. The North Street posse. Yeah, Collingdale. Like, growing up in Collingdale, like you were either like the Bonner Prendy type kid, or you were like the Academy Park
I lived
kid.
in Collingdale.
Yeah.
I went to Harris.
Yeah, I lived my house and my parents still lived directly across the street from Harris. The
Yeah, it
tennis
shows.
courts.
Yeah.
Right across was my parents where I grew up. Yeah.
Well, they had
You
the
look familiar,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
He probably owes you money.
No, which
Megan's
No,
Law.
like Rob? Like Rob?
Rob
Really?
was my cousin.
Okay.
Yeah.
I lived 10 houses away from Rob and Laura.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I was
This show has gone full Delco now. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Rob, yeah, Rob, yeah, yeah.
Let me go back
Front
to,
deep.
before I get away. I want to give Tommy O'Hagan. So he does like wanted to give him a shout out because he
Sure.
does so much for the pod.
Sure.
The
I know Tommy well. He's a good dude.
Yeah, and I had a experience with him because when I was starting in my young bands, high school, and like Thug Folk type things and theater and all that stuff, Tommy was like the sound guy. Like he knew how to do audio technical stuff and was the only guy around there. Years later, Mike McGuire, and he plays his wedding, and they kind of develop a relationship. So when it was time to start Hoagie Time, we're like, we can do that. We need a back of the house guy, and Tommy was it. So that's where we kind of filmed. Now we started the first couple episodes. We're in my apartment living room, which was like there's still like a coziness and like a love for them. When I look back, it seems like we're relaxed because we're on a couch. But
Yeah.
now we're in a place with like proper microphones and stuff like that, and it's more professional, but I kind of miss like
The
that.
codes, the
the-
homeliness.
yeah, that
Next time you
nostalgia of,
taking
like,
notes, bud?
yeah.
So wait, where are you recording it now?
We recorded at Casa Hoogie Time in Ridley Park. It's actually Tommy O'Hagan's basement.
We also had a studio in Ridley Park until we got forced out.
Oh well,
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
growth is important.
What is Hoagie Time about? Number one, the name.
Love it.
It's at first it's some that Mike McGuire kind of came up with and just blurted it out more like a coffee talk or like a
Yeah.
morning, like more like on a play on
Morning
like
Joe.
yeah, morning like
Yeah.
a play. It was more of a play on like kind of sitting back and having a conversation, not like some people think it's like a food show when they first think. But it was more kind of like a spin off of like Coffee Time or like Morning Joe or guys sitting around and we
Talk
wanted
soup.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Very
we
good.
wanted to have that local twist on it, and then the Wawa Hoagies and the Philly Hoagie regional.
I have a
thing.
fat guy question.
Yeah, I can answer
So,
that.
so I'm watching the shows. I'm checking them out, and I'm like, I see that you guys put like a hoagie right there.
Yeah.
And I watched a couple episodes, a couple shorts, I should say.
Al's actually wondering about restraint and willpower.
Like,
And
is
he's
that the
wondering
same
what he
hoagie
can
every
do better.
time?
No,
Or
this is my new job that I got. The job that I finally got at 40 that has benefits and 401k. Like
grown up stuff?
It's
the only
wrangling
time
fat men
it's the
from
only time I've
foods.
ever been able to take off a day in my life and get paid. for it.
PTO.
Love that.
Is
Yeah,
that the
dude,
best
it's
feeling?
unbelievable.
So
Like
good.
what? Like
I
I'm
didn't
waiting
have
for
that
like
till I
my
was 29.
paycheck to be different. I'm like, no, man, your salary. Just do what you got to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, this is great.
Mhm.
So anyway, it's a trading firm in Balkimwood,
Ooh.
but I'm facilities. Like, I'm the
There.
but I get all those benefits.
Yeah, yeah.
So you get free lunch. Like there's cafeterias on 3 of the floors every day,
That's awesome.
and it's like real deal. Yeah, it's like
That's huge.
sushi, real deal shit. Like
What?
because it's a trading firm. It's like Wolf of Wall Street.
Ah,
Like,
okay.
the 3 of the 4
So you guys do like
are the
board
smartest-
toss?
are the smartest people I've ever
And it's
like.
free? It's not like weighted and then you pay for the weight.
No, it's free every day. So every
Love that.
Monday, I go in. There's always a hoagie or a sandwich of some sort,
Yeah.
and I take, and then we record late on Monday night. So I get it for work for free, and I work second shift. And the best part about
Oh,
it,
I got your boss on the line here. Let's
I
put him
know,
on. So we said,
yeah.
I am supposed to be there now.
I'm smart. I'm not. You always said hoagie
The
money.
best part about it is I'm second shift, so technically, the free food they say might be gone. So I get a per diem of $14 a day, $70 a week that I just put in for every week. So that's an extra $3,500 a year
Sure.
that I just say, and I still eat the cold food. I just microwave it. It's
That's all.
still the best food I've ever had. I'm Irish and I'm from Collingwood. I grew up on fish sticks and like mayonnaise.
Oh, no.
So like when I eat that kind of food, I'm
You
like,
have
"Wow."
every life.
yeah,
You've figured it out.
that's
By the way, he found out
Dude,
how
I've
his
been
neighbor to pay for his electricity. You know.
I've been scheming for
Why?
20 years.
it's working.
Totally.
It's
Yes.
working.
I figured that out. So that's where the hoagies come from. So we dress it up a little bit, chips and all that shit. But
So these hoagies are from
they're real.
like
They're
an
real.
hour
And but
marks,
but
like,
the
You
way-
eat them. No,
that's the
That's
way
what Al really wants to
I
know.
say. Only
Tell me
like
slowly.
we've done. I think
Hold on.
use as many descriptive words as you can.
I think we've done 33 episodes or so. Only 3 times I think afterwards one of us was so hungry that we took a bite. It's good stuff. It's from that day, but normally throw it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did a hoagie intervention where Al actually ate the hoagie out of the
No,
trash can
no,
Yes.
no, no.
5
Yes.
minutes after we were
Yes.
done
Mind
recording.
if I
No.
grab another
Don't
one of
know.
these?
Yeah,
These
yeah,
guys?
yeah.
It's on video.
I did
I
not
haven't had
grab
one
it
of
out of the
these in
trash can.
We
That,
watched it happen.
that is good editing, by the way. This
We
is
watched
very
it
good editing.
Natural light.
But listen, you can't let a hoagie go to waste. It is what it is.
You'd
It's-
never be able to sit through a full show with a hoagie in front of
No, dude, he'd be like, "Yeah, can you come on my show?" And like 20 minutes later, you gotta
you.
leave,
Start
dude.
The
sweating.
chips
Yeah.
is where I'd start like I'd pick.
Yeah,
I would pick.
I would pick at the
For
chips
sure.
too.
You know how hard the last episode was with the charcuterie board sitting right
Oh
there?
my
Yeah,
God.
that was tough.
She was cool
A
as shit, by
custom
the way.
Yeah.
one?
I mean, some of the time it's not like a big old Italian. Like even the last one we did last night with Frank Pernitti, he was our guest. It was a vegetable hoagie, and it looked cool, but I wouldn't have ate it. But
Yeah, the only times I fall for that at work, not
Yeah.
doing that again.
Was it
Like,
like,
oh, that looks delicious. No, it's not.
what was like the fake meat in it? Was it
No, it's not
squash or
fake
whatever?
meat. Like
it's just more
it's just,
vegetables. And
they'll
shit.
put like cheese on it and the dressing, but then it's like broccoli rabe,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
fine.
Eggplant.
Eggplant.
some
It's
beans
just
to
the
it,
topping,
yeah.
which I'm fine with. One place that our work gets it with the vegetable hoagie is like this really chewy eggplant.
That's the problem.
Wow.
Ew. Like
Listen,
it's like a McRib without the audacity.
Listen, I'm Italian. I like cold eggplant, but
I
it's just
love
one of those
good
things that don't
eggplant.
travel well. It's either
Like
you eat it in
cold
front of you
eggplant.
or you don't eat it at all.
Bread the
Dude.
fuck out and throw a bunch of cheese and marinara on it. It's
Right.
the only way I'm going to eat eggplant.
Italians, like, you guys are like damn near exotic around here. Like, if I see somebody with like a valve, whoa, what's that? You've probably been through so much shit that I just don't understand.
I've eaten eel. Yeah, I've done that.
Eel?
Eel.
People eat
Eel?
eel. It's a
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
It's
sushi.
fine.
Yeah.
Good
You
stuff.
liked it?
I've eaten tripe, which is pretty much intestines.
Tripe's
It's
it's a regular.
It's a staple usually around Easter time, which is kind
Yeah.
of funny to talk about
a
it. But it's
regular.
like it's one of those things you're like, oh, this really isn't that bad. And then you go, oh,
It's that bad.
there it is. It's like
Yeah.
it hits you like a minute later.
Yeah, it's an aftertaste.
It's literally like intestine. So it's like the Italian version of what's the Scottish stuff? The haggis.
Haggis.
Yeah. And you look at it like, oh, this is interesting pasta because it has like this like weird design.
Right.
It has like grooves and stuff in it. You're just like, it's not
We do
pasta.
scrapple. I'm doing
We
scrapple.
do scrapple. And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm doing scrapple.
shit, cocaine. Where do I draw the bounds? Like,
Yeah.
No rules.
When I had to like explain what Scrapple is to someone from out of town, I just say it's like haggis, and they're just like, "Why are you smiling?" Saying that, I'm like, I don't know.
it's
great."
nothing like haggis. I've tried haggis. It's nothing like haggis.
Speaking
Have
of
you?
things you do for out of towners, like,
Yeah.
I was thinking about this today actually. If you're in Vegas or someplace not
Yeah,
around here,
Yeah.
obviously we say, "Oh, we're from Philly."
Yeah,
Until
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
in the
yeah,
crowd
yeah.
says, "Oh, we're from Philly," and then you go down. So I go down from
Yeah.
Philly, and then I'll go to Darby, but I'm
Mhm.
from Collingdale. But then if you know Darby,
Yeah.
then I'll be like, "Oh, I'm actually from Collingdale."
I
Do you guys have the same thing?
I take
do
it
you
one
start
step
Philly,
further.
or do you go right to the town you're from? Like,
I-
do you say like Leadham
It depends exactly where you are. New York
or
City, I'm not.
Kedron?
New York City, I'm going to say outside Philly.
Philly. yeah.
Chicago, I'm just saying Philly. West Coast, same Philly, just to narrow it down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we go like, what is your understanding of the area? I'll accept Philly if need be. If I'm in Lancaster, if I'm in Harrisburg, if I'm in Dover, I'm going to say I'm from Delaware County, and then we
Yes.
take it from there. And then
Okay.
I have one added
I always
extra step
wondered.
of my life. I'm from Lansdowne,
I was born
and
there.
I'm so sick of
Oh, Lansdale.
explaining
Lansdale.
Lansdowne
Yeah.
against
Yeah.
Lansdale.
Yeah.
So I'm not from Drexel Hill. I never really lived there or anything, but I just go, I'm from Drexel Hill.
We
And
accept
then
you.
watch their reaction.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
they go, oh, I know where that
And then they
is.
look at you. You can't afford the
You
taxes.
motherfucker.
We
Or like
accept you.
even now, when I'm spending more time in like Westchester, like where you're from, like Upper Darby, because I don't feel like explaining the Lansdale,
whole deal.
Lansdale thing.
Yeah,
Right.
with
Yeah.
me, like I'll even say Darby because I know historically it's got more relevance. Like with the
Gravitas.
Darby, people know Darby and they know it because of
Yeah.
Upper Darby, and like nobody would want to say that, but I say that so
Right.
they get the area, and I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
actually not there. But
I have a
I'm
Darby
high-end
shirt
Darby.
because
I'm
I feel it's
Collingdale.
yeah,
My wife's from where's that right there? in Darby? Colwyn. Yeah. thank
Colin,
you.
that little bucket.
Yeah.
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 The
She's like, I'm from
The
Colwyn.
Atlantis
You're
of
from
Darby.
Darby. You'll like it.
Oh,
Colin
man.
Eat your
comment.
shit and cocaine.
Oh, the
you
good old
Darby.
comments. I
I'll
put a
never-
season for them.
That's where I was. I
Yeah.
was playing Little League ball against them when Jerome Brown died. We got word from that.
I remember where I was when that happened. I was in Ocean City down the shore with a buddy, and we were driving. I was in fourth grade, but his parents were driving to where we're going to dinner, and it was on the radio, and I started to cry.
Yeah.
And they were like, "What?" Like, thought I was all fucking.
Yeah,
maybe I
nah,
was. All
there's-
looking back, maybe I should have cried. But it was fucking. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I win. Good
Yeah.
memories.
The comments.
Yeah, that's what I wondered that about the whole like, and that's kind of brings me
Yeah.
with the Hoagie time. Like, we kind of in the beginning, and you guys have been doing this for a long time, so like, pick your brain on
We're
it.
still not good. at it.
But in the beginning, you tell your story and all that, and you're automatically going to go back to your regional or Delaware County kind of things and stuff like that. But about halfway through, we were kind of like, all right, how do we go from that to more regional, more Philadelphia, more lower Delaware, Jersey kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then to grow that to more national topics. So the topic every time isn't so concentrated on like Imperial, which I'm going to get tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
But
That's right there, yeah.
but
They should be sending us money. I'm just saying that every
Yeah.
time
We're
somebody,
sending them money.
every
Yeah.
time somebody comes in here,
They go to Imperial?
they go either come with or leave and get.
I get it 3 times a week. I think.
The
Yeah.
reverse of your thing about like I do like to use Vegas as a thing because it's like imagine you're here, you meet someone, and they're like, "Where are you from?" And they say Las Vegas, and you're like, "Okay, I can picture where that is." But imagine they start with, "I'm from Clark County." They're like, "Where?" Like Clark County, Nevada. Like Vegas? No.
Yeah.
Henderson. And be like, "Where?" Well,
Your
it's direct
knowledge of
next to
Nevada is
fucking Vegas.
pretty extensive.
I know.
Have
Yeah,
you been to
He's
the?
been lost in there quite often.
I stayed out there for like way
Oh,
too
did you?
long a couple
Nice.
years ago. We caught a crazy deal where it was like
When
Just talked about this.
days,
hours ago.
9 nights or some shit.
What-
$400.
when they found out the
Reed.
Eagles were going to play Vegas
Yeah.
that year, they're sitting there like Holbrook's like, yo, dude, Eagles are gonna. You want to go? You want to go? He's like, I mapped it out. So to get to the Bunny Ranch from here to there, it's an hour and a half. It's an hour and a half ride. There's
No, it's
helicopter
9
tours that
hours
drop
out.
you. He's like,
But if we flew into Fresno.
yeah.
You go from Fresno to Reno in 1 hour, and that only takes them 1 day, and then you start through the
He
desert.
goes on like a beautiful mind. We're on the phone, might I add.
When I get focused
like
on scumbaggery,
yeah.
Well,
I can accomplish
So
There's
the
a
it.
best part, the best part about it is I'm at home. He's on the phone. I have him on speakerphone, not thinking this is what he's calling me about.
mistakes.
And he doesn't stop like Holbrook. Listen, I got to. It's play, and maybe call our friends over here in the middle. I'm like,
I know people in Fresno. We can go there
Yeah.
and just drive right over.
and if I don't, I'll make friends with them. It's okay, dude. I got it all covered out. He's like Kramer over there, just like explaining.
You got a
Eddie Rogers.
Sounds like how Rain
You
Man
definitely have a little
started.
Kramer to you.
No, the scary part is like I know that you were just. It's actually a very feasible plan.
And no, the scary part is I said that, then my wife like slaps me upside the head because she hears the entire thing.
Well,
I'm
it's
like,
also not just.
I'm like, this would be a great fit for our show, Holbrook. Goodbye, and like I hang up on him.
We could have easily been like, oh, we're gonna go there for Reno 911. We're like, no, the Bunny Ranch. And listen, Al, Air Force Amy is only $7,500 that weekend. We could split it and just like split the fucking
We're gonna
hour.
split Air Force Amy.
Me and you do not need a full hour.
Ain't nothing split Air Force Amy.
Yeah.
Well,
She's what in her 60s now.
And then Bridget the midget, like
Yeah, but I'm saying
Sounds
she's,
like a weekend.
she's got to be in her. I mean, when did HBO's Real Sex and all that stuff? When did that?
cornucopia.
Yeah, well, that was part of it, right?
Definitely when I was in high school.
What was it
Yeah,
called?
I
The Bunny,
remember.
was it called the Bunny Ranch?
Are times that bad where you got to split a whore? Is that what's
When
going
they're
on?
$7,000,
And
and
if we
Yeah.
even said to each other, either one of like Holbrook said to me or I said to him, "Yo, dude, you want to split a sandwich? We just punch each other. You want to split a whore? Yeah.
it's the best financial decision Holbrook's ever
not
made.
just any
You get the top, I
Air
get the bottom. Like,
Air
Think
Force
about it.
Amy or Bridget the midget.
yeah.
Not saying no.
So it's not really splitting. How do you do the math there?
One gets the upper half.
No, but if you have Bridget the Midget and Air Force Amy, so it's not like
It's
one and a
PPW.
third.
It's
How do
paper.
you- I don't know. I'm just
Paper
trying to figure
wad.
out the math.
Paper
I'm
wad.
not sure.
Yeah,
what it was.
paper wad. Oh
I got to
god.
get to Vegas again soon because
Well,
I
no, the
don't
trick
know
is you
these.
fly to Fresno, then drive over to Reno, then down to
Then up-
Vegas.
Okay. Holbrook's got a map.
Yeah. That's why I know where
Write it
Henderson,
down, write
Nevada
it
is,
down.
by the way.
Oh my god. Oh, Cat House. That's it. Thank you,
Cat
Thank you,
House.
Uncle
What
Spiggy's.
will we do with that Uncle Spiggy?
Cat House.
We,
was
I
2000
love
2005.
Vegas. Vegas is fucking probably my favorite
20 years
vacation
almost.
ever.
Oh, I love it. And I
Yeah.
love residential Vegas. Like,
Yeah.
if
One,
I could move one place, it would be the
one
House
time
Vegas.
was-
Somebody just said that to me. Is that true or is it just?
It's one of the highest growing populations out there.
Oh,
Do you know that this is a
the
fun
weather
fact?
sucks though. I think
It's
the way it's
cold at
dry.
night.
Yeah, it's weird.
Hot during the day. I love it. Do you know that
It's meant to be cold.
97% of Nevada lives in Clark County, which is Vegas?
Well, the rest of it's inhospitable,
Exactly.
and you can't live there.
Or nuclear. by the way.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
The rest of it's Area 51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under the same umbrella.
It's funny because you were talking about like how do you explain to people, and it's kind of mixing that in with Vegas. I have a dealer that I do
Yeah.
that I deal
We all have
with.
dealers that
Yeah.
involve.
Yeah.
Cocaine is shit.
Yeah.
I just
Dave North Terry, 61353.
But this girl I talked to, and she calls me up, and she said to me, she goes, "I finally watched the Mayor of Easttown,"
Yeah.
and she goes, "It is spot on." Like she's like, I've talked to you now for probably 5 years, and whatever, didn't think much of your accent. I'm like, all right, and she's like, but now I hear the Mayor of Easttown. I didn't know it was such a regional, colloquial, or whatever you want to call it thing. I'm like, yeah. Ever since that show has come out, anybody I talk from, like, that's what that show. What's that show? You're from that show, right?
Hmm.
Like, yes, I was from the show. I'm Kate Winslet. Nice to meet
Yeah. I have the same size
Yeah.
breasts as her.
you. right?
it was a good show. I don't know
I enjoyed it.
how much he nailed it, but I think it's just more people from Delaware County being negative.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought it was great, but everyone's going to be like, "That's not right." But I
We
thought
were there when
was
he
good.
was at Dolan's,
Yeah.
Mhm.
learning people.
Yeah.
Because I remember I said something, and he kind of like just looked down and wrote like on a notepad or something on his phone or whatever, and I'm like, "What do you write?" And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because if you say it on the show, I need to take goddamn credit for this.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're gonna say something like I do, I want to know it."
I think one of my favorite things is when it was originally airing. people come up to me about, Delco, like, what do you think about Mayor of Easttown? And the anger of Delaware County people that would come up to me and be like, we don't talk like that. You're making it sound like fucking morons.
Yeah, but the funny
As
thing
they're
is,
yelling at me in their fucking accent.
but the funny part is the SNL skit
Terrible.
was like before that,
Blew it at the end.
and people embraced it. Like, is it because it was supposed to be comedic? They were okay with it.
99% of it great, and then that's
It's all
last line.
relative, you know.
That last line.
It's all
ruined it.
relative to what people think. But I just know around here, like you were just saying, the overall air of people is to be negative first
Yeah.
Sure.
before that they they
We're
realize
from
like
that way.
How we're
oh,
bred.
it's
Yeah,
not like
it's more
other
fun that way.
places where it's like, oh, throw the guy a bone or the benefit of the doubt. It's like automatically so you don't show that you're a pussy or weak. So
You
know,
get
I don't
a
want to
extra
say the P word or anything,
cheesesteak.
but like just
The FCC will be
people
reaching
are
out to you.
so yes,
Put
people are
it
so
a quarter
afraid.
in the swear jar.
Yeah, people are so afraid to be vulnerable that like it's such a Delaware County trait to like just be nice.
Wawa
first.
doesn't sell beer. Maybe they should deport Kate Winslet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then they did the other SNL skit with the Murder Dirter.
Murder
one.
Dirt is the one that was so funny until the very end.
No, I'm talking about the original one I was talking about was the one with Tina Fey, and it was the news one, and she had the Eagle sweatshirt on. There's like supposed to be all the women from.
Clifton Heights chick with
Yeah,
kids.
she's from Clifton. Like people embraced that, but
Yeah.
they did not embrace. And I'll be honest with you, I did enjoy like for just the storyline alone, it wasn't a bad show.
No, I like
I-
it.
No, I'm not gonna say like I regretted
But that's-
watching it.
love
but,
the
but
show.
it's Tina
love it.
Fey.
Yeah.
She can't. It's Tina Fey.
Yeah.
But
There's a
okay,
variable
so if
there.
an English woman is trying to do her best Delco, that's where you're insulted now.
Revolutionary War
Tina-
2.0.
Yeah.
Tina Fey's
Pour
the,
the pain in the river.
Yeah.
she's the
Everybody
queen of
gets their
Delco.
fucking
man.
dad's guns.
She's the
And
queen.
what was his face? The dude has his own Tonight Show now.
Jimmy Fallon.
He couldn't even keep a straight face
Because
the
of
whole-
cocaine and shit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe it's a
He's the most
scalability
Delco
thing.
person we just mentioned because of his fucking drug problem.
Oh, he's pulling it off.
Yeah.
On air
The
sometimes.
difference is he's keeping a job.
He's a
What's the
functioning
difference between him
coke.
and my cousin? You know?
Dude, Hollywood's full of
We
those.
don't see his ankle
Yeah.
monitor, when they film.
Well, there's a difference. There's a difference between rich drug addicts and us poor assholes. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah.
Ankle monitors?
Yeah,
it's just
ankle
no,
monitors.
no,
and,
like if
For a
you
tennis
they don't have to
bracelet?
worry about fentanyl. Those people.
If somebody
I think
said-
they
Yeah.
test it.
somebody said Daily Times, Hollywood Holbrook does cocaine. Duh.
They,
But
they ran that story. What are you
well,
talking
no,
about?
he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag.
It's-
Tina
it's
Fey
also-
does
it's-
cocaine and keeps herself trim. Like it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
Holbrook is jealous.
I had a big Daily Times, page 3, like one of my arrests back in. I used to be a bookie, but I got arrested in Upper Darby. It was like a big bust, and they took out
Yeah,
a bunch
tell
of
us
cash.
about it.
They took a bunch of cash from the house and everything, and got arrested. Went to
You
jail.
weren't with Tim Donahue, were you?
Nah,
Oh, that's
but
good.
people I knew him and all that. But I can't say the names or anything. But I remember we went to George Hill, and I was in there for like 4 or 5 days. And
Good times.
then
Yeah.
somebody knocked on the door and said, "Barclay, like your picture's on page 3 in the paper." I'm like, "Oh no!" Read it, page 3, blah blah blah. Said, that we broke up this bookie crew or whatever. So that was 3/4 of page 3. The other quarter on the bottom was my cousin who just happened to have like a baby that day that had like that they were having tons of complications or whatever. So like on that, there's a mugshot of me, and on the bottom is my cousin with the baby that they had so much trouble like giving birth to.
Miracle baby.
Yeah. So like my family's like, oh my God, it has to be on this day. It's like, oh, your grandmother will be
Was
rolling
it the
over.
same
the grave.
last name, by the way?
What do you mean?
Like your last name and his?
No.
Oh.
Our mothers were sisters. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but the whole time, so they're just kind of laughing. They're knowing they're like, this isn't funny, but this is fucking hilarious.
It's funny.
You see him like all sweaty with his hair messed up, and then this baby brought into the world on the same page in the Daily Times.
Well, at this point, like, is it like hung up on in the
Oh
frame
yeah,
on the
yeah,
wall?
yeah,
yeah.
Grandma's house got it up
It
there.
was about 07. Yeah.
Anytime that you try to win a fight with somebody, like
Yeah.
they just point up to it. Sorry, dude, you're out.
Yeah,
Marsha,
those
Marsha,
were
Marsha.
those are the best years too, because I was like from 03 to like 2010, where I was bookieing
Where
and
the
playing
Eagles
music.
were good. the
Yeah, and
fucking
playing music.
Armies were good.
I've done the booking thing too.
I'm playing like 4 or 5 gigs a week,
Flyers.
playing at night, and then we got the
Flyers.
bookie stuff going. It was just
27.
a wild
Getting
party.
all
in
sorts of
Phoenix.
media coverage. Like
Yeah.
Delco
I
Times,
became a by accident.
free
bookie.
meals at
Yeah,
George W. Hill.
people calling and sitting on them.
Well, it started. I can't say where I worked. I worked at a place, and it was started like a internal employee pick'ems pool type thing.
Sure.
And everybody. I was the only one who could count past 10, so they're like, "Here,
Yeah.
You take this.
You're the
and
mathematician.
You keep this, and then we'll figure out who wins at the end.
Next thing you
And
know,
then it's
your
like,
point
okay,
statements,
now we're
Phoenix
like-
Suns games. Your name's Tim Dunning.
Yeah, right. And then the next thing is like, all right, we're gonna let a couple of the regulars in. That's cool. I'm like, all right, whatever. And then one point they're like, I come here and they hand one of those like bank bags, those like zipper ones, and it's like barely zipping. I'm like, what's
It was
this?
Chuck E. Cheese, wasn't it?
Yeah, yes.
I thought so.
Shillings.
I
I
can't talk
know it.
about that
I
part.
knew it.
The rat.
But
cake
yeah,
is,
like
you know,
and like at one point, like I knew it got bad when I'm
What,
like,
the tear off ones? The ones where you
well, it
circle?
started with that. It started
the
with the
pulls.
then you,
Yeah,
you,
pulls,
you,
they're block-
you
yeah,
tear the
pulls.
bottom parts off.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're running
Is that where you-
numbers.
and then you
the RICO violation.
Yeah.
give me a dime on the birds.
Well, no, but that's what would happen. Like, so, like at one point, so I worked in the kitchen of this place, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, people would walk in, and they'd be like, what's
They would
the
catch you eating food out of the trash.
Yeah.
hey,
Where's Bruno?
hey, fat golem, come here. What's the spread on this game this weekend? I'm like, I don't know. Like, then I started having to look at it. So then, like, I literally had the newspaper pinned up with all the spreads and
Yeah.
stuff.
Page
Pinned
through the
up
Delco Times.
Oh,
Like,
my God.
Got a
I don't-
gold,
I'm
got a gold tooth.
I remember what made me finally. I'm done. I remember my mother living at home. I'm young. I'll be honest with you. I was 19, 20 at most at this time. So
It's back in the 70s.
yeah. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, my mom goes, "Oh, I cleaned your room," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I'm thinking, I got a ton of money under the bed, and like if she saw that, and I don't know how she didn't see it. It was in the shoebox, and I pointed out, and I counted it. I had $40,000 almost under my bed. I said, "This is it. I got to be done. I'm out of this."
The
I
IRS
go
is on
get,
their way.
I go give it to the guy like who started it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "I'm out. I'm out. I can't do
I
this."
thought you were going to say he kept it. I was going. That's a
Oh,
would have been a huge success story.
Yeah.
To leave 40K up,
Well,
I left 40K.
these
down.
guys, like that's the problem. At first, it was just friendly people I worked with who I'm not afraid of, and then they're like, then they start having these guys walk in and like, here's the money and the slips for these
Yeah.
40
Yeah, it
people.
got
You
bigger
do know
than you
that
thought.
Most mafia movies don't have happy endings. Al.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's why I just jailed
beginning
myself.
and middle is fucking hard.
yeah.
No, that's like I'm like, all right, I'm done. Like I said, it wasn't like I planned on it,
Yeah.
but then I'm like the owner of the place who was.
I can't run numbers anymore. My mom said no.
Well, I'm like so
I gotta clean my own room now.
At
too.
first, I'm like, dude, I'm like, this is getting like crazy as it got bigger
That's
and bigger.
true because the same not kind of like that. Like I was on the tail end of living at home with my parents and get my own place because I started 22, 23 or so. And I remember my dad being like, "Yeah, if you're going to do this, people can't be meeting you here." And I would have guys just pull up to the side of the house. Like one time, an older man got out that was betting with me and got out a cooler and cracked the beer right outside. My dad and mom were outside. I'm like, "Yo, dude," I'm like, I'm paying you. You're leaving. He's like, "Oh, I was going to have a beer." I'm like, "I don't live here. I'm 22."
Yeah.
He was like 48, 49 years old. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
well, that's kind of like
That's what he's
yes.
doing
Then my
now.
dad goes, "Yo," he's like, "If you're going to do this, move out." And I moved out.
yeah. There's a dude that had 9.5 fingers came in, and he always had like an envelope. He with the typical envelope with the rubber
9.5
bands or
Which one was
fingers?
missing?
Was it missing because they
it was the
broke
middle.
off?
It was the ring finger. It was the ring
Mm.
finger.
Did the Yakuza fucking
I-
get to him
listen,
for running
dude.
So he had one of these, like the Sopranos
Yeah,
guy?
pretty much. Like I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it was the ring finger. But like,
This
and
one.
the funny thing is, he's like one of those
It's a
guys
shocker.
that you sit there and go,
It's a sucker.
This didn't even have to work for
I
it.
know.
yeah, like yeah. I'm sitting there like, thank God I'm friendly with this guy.
You would
Because
have did all right. Yeah,
no,
you
but I'm
would've
just
did
saying,
all
like,
right.
he's the kind of guy that he's like, either you don't want to know, or if you know him, you better be on this good side.
Did he wear a pinky ring?
But no, it's just like it kept getting worse. And I'm like, and they were at one point they said like, we're gonna give me your address. We're gonna send him over to drop it off. I'm like, you can't, like you said, you can't
Yeah,
come
yeah.
to my house.
Yeah, yeah,
He's like, well, it's on your pay stub. I'm like, I don't give a shit. You're not coming to my house.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
but yeah, no, it was like I said, like I never asked for it, but then like the boss is like, hey, here you go. Here you go. Like he starts, and the envelopes for me. I'm like, okay, I guess I can get past it.
Nowadays, it's a whole nother world.
Right.
I mean, because
They don't need you.
you
anymore.
got DraftKings and
Mhm.
FanDuel like now, like, and people, they just want it's easier. I mean, I know myself. I'd rather put in even though you get credit with a street bookie. They call them short pants bookies.
Mhm.
It's an old school term, but even though you get credit, so you can bet, and you don't have to pay up front. Sometimes it's just easier to know that if you win and want to withdraw it, you can just do it in 5 minutes and it's in your
Yeah.
account.
Yeah, but I don't like it. It's like play by play that you can. I
You
mean,
can literally bet on anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Any
that's
second. Yeah,
wild.
it's.
I just got a text from
It
my
was
mom.
like
Said
a
we need
rich.
to talk.
I know where your money's going.
Al's
Yeah.
grounded.
She's like, you had $60,000, you little
I,
bitch.
I have a question off topic. Delco Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't wait.
What? It was at Marty's for so many years, and it's at Brewski's this year.
Yes.
Any reason?
It was supposed to be moving every
Okay,
year.
every
It was-
so it was always supposed to be.
the first two were at different venues. They closed. It's their fault for believing in us.
Right.
Well,
I went to McGee's for 3.
The one did
Great.
try stealing from Delco Day. Or did.
One of them did. Yeah.
The
yeah,
first one.
Yeah.
The first one.
Mm.
First one was a smaller place in Upper Darby, and we found out from people like after the show was over,
Yeah.
and they said, I'm not trying to be a jerk, and it was, great time, like really just something that kind of got thrown together and worked.
Yeah.
And they go, but I went in line, and my wife went and bought a Yingling, and my friend
This
did.
was at the doghouse.
Yeah, the old dog house
Oh
in
my
Upper
God.
Darby.
Mm.
Yeah. And he goes, and I'm behind her, and I buy the same beer, and they charge us 2 different prices.
Ah.
This place
Wow.
did not did not donate, did not do anything, just supplied us with a place to do this.
Yeah.
And they were taking, like, we went off. We were pissed.
Wow.
They were bad with their customers.
That
too,
was
'cause
the first year.
Yeah. They
What
could've-
year? What year is this?
That was
10?
2016.
Eight.
This is a
This is 8. Yeah.
And overall, great experience. I see now you
every
guys.
year.
I see now you guys have how many bands?
It's 9 this year, which is down from 15.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
saw that.
became,
Team was a
it
lot.
became too
Yeah.
much, and then people.
Well, like even like the crossover, like the setup, like are you bumping into each other?
No,
Like,
because we usually do 2 to 3 stages.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
like you
Alright.
play 40 while someone else is setting up, play 40.
so that was
and
smooth.
listen, like
It
the whole,
was, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep. Like it was a well-oiled machine day of.
yeah, like we used to have a place you could pull up like an hour before or 2
Yeah.
before you like
It was
leave
a
your stuff
real-
there and be like, yeah, we were after like the first time we had it as big as we did, which was what 3 at Marty's. It went off really
Nice.
well, like to
Yeah.
our like, and we're waiting for something, and for the 90%.
And it's JT's doing outside inside. Kind
Yeah,
of
we're
thing?
doing
Yeah,
one outside.
we're taking over the
one
whole-
inside. And the reason it's down to less bands is we want more time to actually do like Delco live things. We want like a DJ. at the end
Are
of
you
the
doing a
night.
live podcast?
No, we're just we usually like the local politicians or local people show up. We just
So
interview
they're
them.
coming over from Singers.
Yes.
It's
We do like a
it is an official
presentation.
holiday. They have to do it every year now.
Yeah.
Before it was supposed to be like after 5 years, it's automatically built in, but apparently the rule changed. So now
Yeah.
every year we got to reach out to them, and they get their 5 seconds of
Right. Sure.
And it's just more time to do our own thing on top of that. And
Yeah.
also one thing was, I mean, no offense to certain acts or whatever, but like we were booking 15, 16 bands, and there was probably like 6 or 7 every year that were bringing that one. And it's like, why? It's basically they're just jerking off in a different room
Right.
instead of actually like it's a big
That's what
opportunity.
Carrie asks us to do when she walks in. Usually, you got to do this in the
Well, you
other
guys
room.
jerk off in the other room.
Yeah.
I don't ask a lot.
That's why we have the one
I don't
bathroom
ask for
closed at
much.
all times.
But we were just like, how do we get people during the day? Because that's where we if we knew you weren't gonna bring anyone, we were gonna fucking throw you during the day because it's
Right.
it's up to you to bring people. But we found we were also wondering how to make it more family friendly, and we reached out to the Let There Be School of Rock, and they do they're like, I guess it would be like the equivalent of like recital rehearsal.
Mhm.
They do them at Tom and Jerry's every so often, and they pack it with the kids' parents. So we're just gonna have them do that during the day, and that's 2 hours of parents being there and different groups of people.
Mhm.
So
That'd be cool.
it worked out really well for everyone, but it cuts into the time that we could book different acts. So it's 9 acts this year.
Lisa, he's alive. We just talked to him earlier. He's fine. He's just busy. She was asking what Prof was. But yeah, and to answer the question a little further is like Holbrook said, this was never meant to be a stagnant place, and then not be in a bad way, just in the same place. And listen, we had a really good year 3, and then year 4.
Year 4 is still one of the favorite days.
Yeah, year 4 went really well too. Then 5 would have been 20. So that actually didn't happen. It's the Delco Day that we always make up stories that this crazy moment happened, but never did.
Yeah.
It's also the reason that Delco Day 6's tagline was Delco Day 6, the 5th one.
Yeah. So then 6, because we had to throw it together, and once again, it wasn't like we weren't going to think about it, but it's like, hey, we're throwing this together.
Mhm.
We literally put Delco Day 6 together in 6 weeks?
Yeah, it was 420 when we got the okay to do it.
Yeah, like when they allowed us to do it, like to have something of that caliber.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
you
Do you
know
guys take the plan to like say JT Brewski's first year? Do you take what this is what we've done, this is what works?
Yeah.
And they say, have at
and,
it.
and to be honest with you, the structure isn't like genius in any which way.
Right.
We're taking over the entire parking lot, so it'll be fenced off. They're going to have a mobile bar in the middle outside, as well as the stuff open inside and around the edges there. There'll be some vendors, and like he said, multiple bands will be DJing in between. Because that was the other thing. Like we learned, like because it's such it's a whole day event, and and knock on wood, we've had really good weather almost every Delco day that I can, at least the outside ones that I can think of. We had like rain on 4 for about 30 seconds. But and then that's it. And then people playing cornhole off to the side. So we figured like, just throw some extra music in
Back
and
up.
let guys like
Yeah.
you play longer. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing,
We
is,
had the
like,
dunk tank. What year
his-
was the dunk tank?
Dunk tank was
4.
6. Was it
4.
4?
4.
4,
And
yeah.
that was another thing is it was 15,
Plus
16
4.
bands, whatever.
Mhm.
All to fit that into 12 hours, you can only play 40, 45 minute sets.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a lot of these, artists or performers that it's like, you're taking a day off a paying gig, especially because it's a Saturday in the summer. Where it's just like it's not even worth like coming and doing a 40-minute thing. So everyone's set is essentially going to be longer this year.
Yeah, and
Make it
listen,
really worth
also
people.
And do you do like the back line? Did somebody keep a drum set there? or-
Yeah, so we're gonna get into those specifics, but yeah, that's gonna be figured out soon. But that is usually the goal, at
Yeah.
least.
So you don't have to do that.
And the good thing is, even if you don't, you do have 40 whole minutes to set
Right.
up.
yeah, you
If
got
needed.
you got a good amount of time to do your thing, and,
Cool.
and
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, the concept of Delco Day isn't crazy, but it just works. And like you said, like every year it's gotten better. I'm not like
Mhm.
kind of hopefully not jinxing myself for this
Mhm.
year, but every year it's grown. Every year the money we raise for Headstrong has increased. So I mean, the only year it didn't technically was Delco Day 6, I guess, the one after the pandemic. Because
Shirt you're wearing.
yeah, this one.
I still love that.
And this, by the way, we have these shirts. We do
Mine-
collectibles.
mine's
These are pretty much
Yeah.
collectibles now.
Right.
I know people. I've seen people with
Devastating.
Delco Day 1 and 2 shirts walking down the street still to this
Oh,
day.
geez.
Yeah.
Brewski's when we did like a really soft lob to a couple of venues that we thought could handle it,
Right.
and Brewski's called me back within like the first 2 minutes. They knew all about it. They were like, "Can you have a meeting ASAP?" And we sat down.
And they
Yeah,
seem like they
there's gotta be
handle-
better than Tommy.
They came in
Yeah.
with literally their own diagrams and numbers ready to call to have things ready.
Yeah,
And
get
gonna be great.
the
The crazy
thing is
beer
that-
sponsors and
by the
the-
second
yeah.
by
Yeah.
the second meeting, they already had like we were already on email chains of things that are arriving on the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th of the week,
Oh,
just ready
nice.
for it.
Now,
Yeah.
have you
There's
guys
porta potties?
ever gone live as a podcast? Like, have you did it
On
remotely?
location. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
All the
yeah.
time.
Why,
used to it all.
why not at a Delco Day?
We-
Just has
so
too much shit going on.
Wow.
We
Yeah.
used to every year we always come up with a different plan of how we're going to incorporate that.
Mhm.
We used to go live with the ceremony where we do a swearing in of non-Delconians as Delconian people, give them a little Delco flag.
Cheryl.
Last yeah,
She
usually
does-
there's a big presentation with Headstrong and all
Yeah.
that. Last year, Carrie interviewed every single band that was there, and we went
Mhm.
live for some, maybe not brothers.
It was a
The-
lot to coordinate
Yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah.
with everybody on all the
On
time.
all- yeah,
So we went
yeah.
live for some.
So
Because you,
we just
yeah.
don't want to waste. We don't. There's I don't know.
Yeah.
There's it's you basically had to feel out the
No, I
situation.
don't
Like we used to go live with like a little thermometer of how much you raised during the day and all that shit.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just that there's so much going on in
Yeah,
general.
and that became difficult just to keep track because
right.
you got and this is helps people understand. We make it, and working with Headstrong is also makes it easy
Mhm.
to donate. Like you go to these things like I don't have cash, so I got to stop and get cash. What's
Yeah.
nice about it is you can do a credit card donation to get in. We still haven't raised the price in the 8 years for the the 610 at the door unless you're using a credit card, $7.
And-
And you can pay cash, and that's the other thing, keeping track of all the cash and then going to count it and then looking at the credit
Sure.
card stuff, and
Mhm.
it becomes
And
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
the not going live thing is
Yeah.
also mentally one concept I have with it is like how you watch like 6 ABC and they give you a traffic report and you're like, well, this isn't helping anyone in traffic. And what I mean by that is like it starts out slower. It's 12 hours. Sometimes it starts out slower. We're not going to go live and show an empty parking lot and want people to be there.
Yeah.
Like that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
us look weak.
Mhm.
And then by the time it gets really good, we're not going to go live and be like, get here. Actually, we don't care. It's already wild anyway. Stay the fuck home for all
Right.
we care.
Yeah.
It's basically we wouldn't be able to give any live updates to be of value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we would.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't even hit like a lot of people's timelines with the way the algorithms. Go,
Yeah.
you know what
Right.
I mean,
And
like
Yeah,
we're
I'm
gonna-
sure
we're gonna
people
try
aren't
to
jumping
have
on
s-
Saturday that day. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not the hottest time on. Is it Saturday at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock?
People
You
who
know?
are watching us
Yeah.
live are there by
Yeah.
the time it's done.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's always this nerve wracking thing. Homework looking because it's 2
Mm.
o'clock, 2:30. Where's everybody? Where's everybody?
Yeah.
Then it's like 3:30.
Oh,
we're
the
fine.
mental breakdowns the day of.
Yeah.
It's my favorite part. It's my favorite part.
So many tears.
I love it.
But I mean,
I am suicidal at least 8 times.
It's the best.
a
Jeez.
day.
Are you playing this one?
Yes.
Bored as hell, or
No, this
what are
one
you in
is
now?
this one is Furby.
Okay.
It's me and Bridget Galloway.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bridget, yeah.
so we've got an entire electric band.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we're going an hour set.
and he
Fucking
looks
hell.
like Animal, so it
Yeah.
works out.
That's
Animal gave up. I guess.
Bridget's come up and sang with me at Brisky's a lot. She's got a fantastic voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
So
great.
we're doing like some fucking 90s deep cuts, full band. It's gonna be pretty cool.
And you're on when?
8:30,
8:30.
I think.
And I'm on 10:15.
You're on the same stage as us after us.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
so-
I think
And
and you can play for as long as you want, whatever you
all
want
right.
to do.
I may have a drummer. I may have another guitar player.
Excellent. That's
Yeah,
good. We'll
so-
coordinate since we're on the same stage.
Yeah.
We can tag team a drum set. or some
and
shit.
and for those who are tuning in and have never done it, we always, like I said, we always try to do something and evolve. But it's like Holbrook kind of said earlier. You can come anytime.
Mhm.
You can come and you can go and come back.
Mhm.
You could
if
come,
you have a
you can
wedding,
come.
you
during
come
the day,
again.
Yeah,
you can come
again.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twice as die.
Usually like
twice as
twice.
risen,
Yeah.
twice as come
Yes.
It's
again.
about
If you have something that night, if you
Yeah.
work the third shift,
We've had
don't
people
go
come
there.
in for Phillies games. We've had people come after before concerts. We've had just graduations.
There's literally
yeah.
no excuse. I actually hold grudges and I've put off like ties to people, and I'm dead serious. I say that don't come out to Delco Day. Like there were certain people last year who absolutely could have made it.
Take
And they're
that,
just like,
Grandma.
well, I had something to do between 6 and 7. I'm like, that's fucking fun.
Yeah.
Brewski's is a great location too because there's no reason to not be able to get to it.
Yeah.
Like just physically, the location's in
It's
a
perfect,
great
yeah.
Look who's
spot.
joined the
Between-
chat.
Everything. It's between.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Bridge. Hi.
Trains there.
Ah,
Yeah. Good
Parking.
parking.
We'll
Yeah.
also we'll be announcing over the next few weeks. We're working on with certain people to make parking easier
hmm
in certain areas, as well as getting across the street and lighting it up well enough for people to be aware.
Holbrook's going to draw another map,
Yeah.
a parking map,
Yeah.
and we're going to color it in, and we're going to post it in the event
Can we
page.
keep a copy of it this
Yeah, we
time?
were.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not going to sell it.
You're not
all.
going to sell it and then forgot to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
that is actually one thing I forgot that I was going to do this
We
weekend.
did a show
Nothing.
the map show.
No, I was
The heat
talking
map.
about the talking to fucking
Dink, you're on
Dale Guard
maps.
police.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
For a
we're
good thing for once.
we're working with them to see if they will help us out. And I mean, listen, if Upper Darby needs that win. There you go. You have a Delco Day.
We will
this year.
stop
Yeah.
making fun of your mayor. And if you don't think that's a good tactic, we just signed on the Holiday Inn with the offer where I said, if you sponsor Delco Day, we will stop making fun of your sign on Bermont Ave. And they said, okay.
It's going to be a tough one.
We had a thing back in Thug Folk. The Delco band. There's signs that say DUI, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, our album cover or the inside was going to be. We ended up not doing it, but just holding the hundreds. Like right at it. Like, who the
Yeah.
fuck are you to tell me what I can't afford? But I don't know.
And you know,
God glad we didn't. I guess.
Oh, they're back into the thousands now.
and Gullis Bar continues to be one of the great sponsors. They said they will be parking cars for you, but only for Benzes and Corvettes. No promise in Rochester's first valet night.
Perfect.
Was that a thing?
I don't know.
Did
But-
people sign up to work at Harris and just steal cars?
Maybe.
Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Kings.
It's a good one.
I remember I needed a job at one point. My mom's like, "What about Harris?" I'm like, "Don't you know how I got in this position? I can't get a fucking job there."
Harris, mom.
You
Don't
just
jump
jump
off
off
the
the parking lot.
Yeah,
Being
she's like,
George
she's like, "You're right. You're right. No, don't get a job there. Thank
It's like if Al's mom gave him a big chocolate bar. Here.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah. You should get into a chocolate business.
you." Why don't you
Okay,
think about
mom.
working at Harris? I'm like, "You serious? You know the 15-year issue, right?"
That's funny. Moms don't like me.
Uh,
Mainly my mom. I got problems. Anything else we want to plug in before I don't want to forget anything.
Whatever you want. Tell us a little bit more about Hoagie Time. We didn't dwell on
yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely want to plug Hoagie Time. We come out, we do it Monday night. We release on Friday morning. YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you do your streaming, Apple
Do
all
you
that shit.
use the tune core?
I don't know. I'm not that guy in the three-way thing we have. I'm not the tech.
Well, Spaz is the three-way guy. If you ever need anybody,
Yeah,
three-way.
three-way,
Call it-
yeah.
He's your guy.
We call it the Devil's Triangle.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do that, and we try to do it every week, and we try to have guests on that are interesting in any way. You don't have to be recreating the wheel.
So Holbrook,
but-
you're not invited.
No,
No,
absolutely not.
well, we don't, and then sometimes it'll just be the two of us, but we try, and I don't know if you guys ran into this before. You've been doing it a lot longer. Like in the beginning,
We have failed everywhere you go.
yeah, in the beginning,
We still do.
we'd write down like,
Talking
weekly
points?
talking points,
Mhm.
the weekly talking points, and like then it became more of like a news fucking cast,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
hitting them all. And I feel like we're finally catching a groove, just going into it, being prepared a little bit mentally, like
Yeah.
about what you kind of want to say,
Here's your
but-
topic-ish.
but definitely not the bullet points of thing, and then this,
Yeah.
because it came off like so. Like
we
now
learned
it's like
that too.
the minute you can forget there's anything sticking right in front of your face, this thing here, like, and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I know half the conversations I have with Mike are fucking funny, and we're getting there to where it's that, but you just got to realize, just have a conversation, and it's getting good. I feel like we're getting better at it, and we've had a lot of good luck so far. We did it down at the Eagles game. We did it
I saw
down
that.
there,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
that was just trial and error with the setup and all.
Yeah, listen, yeah.
But it was fun and shit, and that's what we hope to do.
Have you had any banter where you've had to go back and edit it out?
Oh, yeah.
Things
Oh,
and be
yeah.
like, oh,
I
can't
said
have
something
that.
last night that we had to edit out.
Well, we had the beauty when we started going live of, people weren't pussies. And
but now it's a little
cancel
bit
culture and all that
right.
stuff. We had to like go scrub our old stuff, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Me,
Like,
me and Al were on a show that ran from 2012 to
yeah.
2018 when this launched, and it was so funny, but none of that shit can exist in 2023. To the point
Right.
where we had,
I mean, we literally had a warning in the
existence
beginning.
of it.
This is not true fact. We don't believe it. We're
Yeah.
just making jokes. I mean, we had people come on, it was things. It's like when you thought about a, internet radio or podcast, pretty much
Sure.
said whatever you want.
We had something with Sammy Orpizza, who's
and we've had Sammy on the show a few times. Yeah.
running in Philadelphia right now. Well, he said, just a quick story, not denying or confirming or a fan of COVID, and he made a comment saying that like, like it was during COVID, but we were outside, like kind of clean up the streets. Still, we could still do that or whatever. They flagged that comment
Yeah.
as something because you weren't supposed to be going
Ah.
outside when you said. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
So stuff like
Wait,
that.
the algorithm flagged it.
The algorithm
Yeah.
flagged it because
Yeah.
it talked about COVID and not following the guidelines.
When we first
It
started,
really wasn't him doing that.
when we first started, Facebook Live was like a new thing for the most part. And I remember Holbrook turns to me and goes, because we would, when we first started, even before he was there, we would literally record the audio. We didn't even do video. And then we're just like, all right, I'm going to go back. All right, it's Monday, record on Monday. All right, Tuesday, I'm going back. I'm listening. I'm clipping out, adding sound effects, doing this, doing that. And I'm like, all right, 4 hours later, I got an hour show.
So official though.
What?
So
Yeah.
fancy clipping and stuff.
Yeah, right.
That's
And then like at one point, like when, like you said, we started getting a bunch done. We're like, we didn't really stop, and I really didn't have to edit too much. I mean, we got a soundboard in that way we can just throw the
Right.
sound clips in. With this same iPad still sitting here.
The first 10, I would say like very vain. Like I listen to every part. Like, if that didn't work, cut that.
Mhm.
Then I find like now it's like, all right, if there was one part, maybe I would know afterwards that part's getting cut. But now it's just like, listen, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Say it out. Like it doesn't
Well,
have to be
it's
perfect.
also like,
And people don't want to see a robot. They want
Yeah.
to see you like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like it's more human if there's a little lull there. I was insane about cutting the lull, cut the lull. Like what the fuck?
I
Like,
actually paid
let there
for a
be a lull.
software that went through and trimmed
did
out all the
that?
dead air.
Oh, that would have been
And-
a nightmare for me. I would have used that. I would have burnt that thing.
But what we learned was instead of worrying about cutting the crap or the stuff we didn't like, whatever you want to call it, we just started cutting the good stuff and putting that back out. Like that was like, all right, well, why don't we do it that way? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right, here you go.
So,
Yeah.
so an algorithm really picked up
Oh,
someone's
yeah.
opinion of.
Yeah.
You know that we got flagged
You
for
can,
a
like
hate
right
crime?
now, we can get
Mhm.
in trouble with
What was our hate crime?
Facebook, or we used to. We're talking about COVID.
Yeah.
It would put because you know how we used to say this video made talk about COVID or
Yeah, yeah.
give you
Right.
information
False
about COVID.
tags.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
why. We got flagged for hate speech because we had one dildo on the show who brought nothing to it, that was a guest, and he just went on a tirade about how he does not like women from Russia because it was his
Oh,
ex,
that
and it
guy.
flagged us for fucking hate speech against Russia.
Well,
But now we'd be okay.
Listen.
We'd be okay now.
It better not be Chris Hoops.
No,
Chris Hoops, I love
Does he
Chris.
hate Russia?
Chris and I know he loves
think
everybody. He's
so.
the nicest guy I've ever met.
personally,
Chris
flagged.
Hoops gave me.
I grew up with Chris.
Chris Hoops gave me
I would-
diabetes.
I would have surprised me.
I got personally flagged on my own page for this is not a lie during the Eagles versus 49ers playoff game. I wrote one more game and I'm drinking car bombs.
Oh,
And
well.
I got flagged for terroristic threats for using the word car bombs. I appealed and I said, no, this is ridiculous. It's drink.
Can't they
And
just let anybody
Were
have
you
fun
in the
anymore?
Irish, were you in
Blow
the Irish
cars up?
Riviera
And
when you?
it was in the Irish Riviera when I wrote it.
There you
I
go.
literally said drinking car bombs, not
There you
doing or whatever.
There you go.
And then I appealed, and they sent back and they went from a 6-day suspension to 60 days of not showing up in mini feeds, and sent me an article about how I need to educate myself on the conflict in Northern Ireland.
And then
Like, are you fucking serious? And no matter what I
Wow.
post, I could wrote, I had triplets today and won the lottery, and it will only get like one like.
Oh my god.
They have ruined me.
I'll tell you about the troubles. Just meet me at Coley's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you all about the fucking troubles, you
They throttle.
white-headed project. I'm
I-
sorry.
I want to hear the hoop story.
yeah, Chris Hoops says Barkley saved my life.
I wanna hear that one.
Yeah, we were in grade school and we were drinking at his house. Hoops had a big house and liquor. So we
Okay.
went and
Winner.
Yeah.
I was in Collingdale and he got all fucked up and all of our friends left when they heard his mom coming home. And I was like, I can't, like, he's dying. Like, he was in a tub and throwing up. So, like, everyone's like, oh, and she pulled up and ran. I stayed and got in trouble, but made sure, like, I'm like, and then I pulled
What a good friend would do.
yeah, like, exactly. I made sure he was facing the other way. I'm like, this is what's going on. He's fucking, and he's throwing up, but he's facing the right way. And then, you know,
It's a lost art, bro.
yeah.
I'm telling you.
So, like, he survived. It looks like, it
Obviously,
looks like
yes.
at least.
Uh,
So far.
Yeah.
this jury's still out.
But like the rest of the guys just kind of just split on it and like, you know,
We actually did a seance that was actually him from Beyond the Grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had Chris
Yeah.
on here
he's
what,
hung tough.
twice at least.
At
Right,
least
Chris?
twice,
Chris,
yeah.
at least twice, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
We did our
He's a Delco Jeopardy.
we did the
contestant.
well no we also
the
did
Natterday
the
episode.
Natterday episode where we
Yeah.
made mixed drinks with Natterdays, and then diabetes came in my life. The next
Al
day.
got
I
diabetes
think-
that week.
I
We're
had
all getting
chronic
diabetes
heartburn
eventually.
from
Yeah.
Saturdays.
Fun
Yeah.
fact: it
Absolutely.
is not wise to mix Natterdays with Fruit Loops and cough syrup.
Oh,
Ugh.
I don't know. Taste wise, it wasn't
It was
bad.
delightful. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to try the syrup, like, you know, the black eyes, like in West Philly drink.
Yeah.
Scissor.
The syrup?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
yeah,
Wait, is
yeah.
that like a thing?
I would-
Zero?
oh, yeah, it's a fucking
Oh,
real
I thought it was a joke.
No,
I'm
it's a
kind
thing.
of into it. Every time I see them with those little styrofoam
Pan-
cups, I'm like, I would love some.
Pancakes are the pills, and scissor
Yeah.
is the fucking.
That's right. He was
drag.
also on the Wings and Strippers episode.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we had an episode because former guy on the show, they kind of got online with each other with their about who could eat more wings, and Hoops was like, whatever. And they came on, and the other guy just ate 4 wings, packed the rest up for lunch, and went home. And Hoops destroyed them. And then we had the second half of the show. We had Lou Turk's
Turks.
girls come in and tell us stories.
They came in
Sheesh.
to tell us that they were celebrating their 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the interview, we're like, "Is it really 50 years?" And I'm like, "No, we just made that the fuck up. We bought it in like 1998. We have no idea how old this place is."
Yeah, genius,
Yeah.
Yeah.
genius.
Sure.
Yeah, those good times, Chris. Good times.
Yes.
But he lived local. I don't think he's in the
Yeah.
smaller county.
Nah, he's all the way out that
Mm-mm.
way, but he's been a good friend and also gifted in the audio technical world.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
He
Graphical too,
saved
right?
me. Yeah, he saved me many a gig where the mic didn't work or something. He'd come flying over. But you know, 2 Collingdale success stories. You
There you
know.
go.
Love
Oh
it.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
Those are the only 2
yeah,
that
Hoagie-
exist
well,
in the world.
Mike McGuire, half
Okay,
my
okay.
so, but yeah, that Hoagie Time, check us out, subscribe, all that kind of crap.
Tell us where we can find it.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that kind of shit. And then musically, you know, my Facebook page, Michael Barclay, spelled like the soccer league and the bank, not Charles.
Yeah, do you get that a lot?
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
growing up in the late '80s, early '90s, like nobody
Which one's
says
related?
Barclay. Nobody says Barclay. They say Barclay. In fact, in first grade, I started spelling my name on my test, Kley, until the
Okay.
nun told my parents, like, "Yeah, this is what he's doing." My parents were like, "Mike, the kids aren't believing that you're
You're
related."
shaming, you're shaming your
Yes,
forefathers.
yes.
Maybe gambling issue.
Oh,
There could be a
man.
genetic disorder. You
I
know?
gotta check my. I got a
He's like,
I got the Canucks tonight.
he's sitting there. He's looking down. He's
They're
like,
playing
yeah.
the Kraken.
They're playing that the Kraken. Yes. Yeah.
I get Kraken.
This is the
updates
last.
'cause I bought
This is the
one
last
shirt from them.
game of the year.
The crackhead.
Right?
I believe.
I think this is the last game of the NHL season.
But I really appreciate you guys having, and letting me talk about my
No, man.
music and the podcast and all that.
Definitely love to have
Internet
you.
radio
you guys-
too.
Yeah.
You guys are a mainstay in Delaware County and
Are we?
Delco Live.
Are we?
There you
You're,
go.
I feel like-
you're the
Yeah. You.
Yeah. Hey, I know this your pod and what you guys been doing all the way since back in the old Rambo days.
Rainbow
I've been
Radio.
tuning
Yeah.
in.
We deny the existence of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we-
go look that up.
That was
Do
what
not
was.
write that in.
That was what was.
Scrubbed.
No, it was scrubbed. I scrubbed the
Yeah,
internet.
it does not
Yeah.
exist.
Yes.
I called Al Gore. He fixed it up. It's all gone. It's
Goodness
fine.
gracious.
It's fine. Guys, I want to remind you that Delco Day is coming June 10th. You can go to
59 days.
Yep, you can go to delcolive.com and click on the Delco Day link. You can donate. If you want to be a sponsor, you can fill out there as well as just if you have any inquiries, you can submit.
All that goes
Because-
is wrong.
Don't be so fucking cheap.
Inquiries.
Yeah.
Come on.
inquiries. Listen, man, this like you asked me earlier. You said, "Is this does it get better and better?" I have to admit, so far we have the best start so far to a Delco Day.
Oh yeah.
More than that. Usually it's all Delco Day. Like the 90%. I would say we always had sponsors, but a lot of that money has to go to setting things up and purchasing things,
Sure.
and all that. But we are well ahead of the curve this time around, thanks to
Good.
great
I'm
great
glad
sponsors.
to
which will-
finally be a part of it. Yeah.
well, we're glad to have you. Glad to have other bands, which will be on the event page. Which is, if you guys want to follow us along on Facebook, there is a Delco Day 8 event page. We will be posting, about the bands, about the new sponsors, about the vendors that are coming up, different drinks we'll have, food we'll have there. We'll have it all, and we're just going to keep updating you more and more and more. And we might throw some old Delco Day videos and pictures in there so you guys can get a feel. Hundreds of people come through the door for Delco Day, and it's just what makes Delco Day special is that it's for something cool. It's for a great Headstrong, which is just an amazing foundation, but it's a party, so you get to have a good time and also do a good thing at the same time.
It's
So.
literally. Do you like good weather? Do you like beer? Do you like people? Do you like your neighbors? Well,
No,
the good neighbors.
no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, yeah.
Al also offered
Better
to give
sell.
you a feel, so I personally can't wait for that.
What was that?
You offer to give a feel.
Yeah,
Give who a
I
feel.
said you get a feel.
Oh.
Because
So
he's
I can't
ethnic.
wait to get a feel.
Because he's
Oh.
Italian and he's
Why?
ethnic.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's a thing over
Yeah,
Delaware
yeah.
County
It's
girls.
like just
Wow, he's Italian. Look at him. He's a unicorn.
It was
yeah.
in the
Was
spiel.
it Andrew?
Well,
Was it
the-
Andrew Cuomo line?
parents-
I'm not creepy.
Pull
I'm
the
just
tape.
Italian.
Pull the tape. It was offered.
we're outgoing people.
Oh, the cuisine.
Yeah.
I'm not a
Cuisine.
Yeah.
Italian.
That's all.
So also I want to thank our great sponsors here at Make Delco Live happen. Let's start with Dolan's Bar. PJ's the man over
What a
24
great picture.
East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park. That was from was it Fox?
Tan mom. That was when he was dressed up as Tan mom.
What was on which news? The news.
He was
one.
on Fox.
Fox News, yeah.
He was all over Fox.
It's the only time he had
Right.
he had his tie on that it wasn't in front of a judge. I had to use that one. 24 East Sellers Avenue in Ridley Park. Quizzo music, great times. Remember, like I said, you never know who's going to walk through the door there. Go to dolansbar.com. Great website. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As well as, like we said, if you get in a little trouble, you get hurt in a fender bender, hurt at work, personal injury. David R. Cherry is your man. Cherry
Mayor
Injury Law.
crashes into a
Yeah.
They
We're,
didn't give us any
we're
money.
trying to woo them, so let's.
We're gonna turn the page.
We're gonna turn that page. Workers' compensation, motor vehicle,
Big ol'
personal
slap on
injury,
the wrist.
Turn that check page.
That's all.
criminal law, charityinjurylaw.com, 610-565-0300. And get that shit and cocaine out of your face and put some fat cow jerky in it. That's
Cocaine cow.
right. Cocaine cow, right? Fatcowjerky.com. Facebook, Instagram, great flavors. These are great treats for your favorite.
It's marketing genius right
They even have
Put a
favorite
cow in the
treats for your favorite canine.
No
So it's
cocaine
great.
for the
Priority.
jerky.
Yeah.
So check out fatcowjerky.com. And as we mentioned numerous times, the great BHCU, Delaware County's credit union, sponsoring Delco Day number 8, the Ocho. That's right, June 10th. Officially again on June 10th. This is what the third time.
BHCU is a credit union. You have to have essentially an invite into a credit union.
Mhm.
Their tie-in is that you
Fuck.
literally just have to live in or work in Delaware
Mhm.
County.
Okay.
You do not have to work for Boeing
Or
you
know
don't have to
somebody who
have
did one
family at
time.
Boeing. It is if you literally just live in or work in Delaware
If
County.
you can spell Delco,
yeah,
they will let you.
they
in.
will take you.
It's like your SATs, your
and,
name.
and there's
Yes.
great location. And like I said, we are excited to work with JT Brewskis. It's going to be a good time. So check it out. And like Mike said, check out his great music on Facebook as well as Hoagie Time. So other than that, guys, anything else you want to put out before we head out?
All I got.
All right. On that note, we are out of here.